This is Phosphor. Welcome to this tarot reading. Today's reading will be about the change that is coming to your life. Since it's Scorpio season now, I thought it would be great to make a reading about changes, transformations, or energetic shifts that is coming to your life, given that Scorpio is the sign of transformation. I've included 4 GIFs to represent the 4 groups. You can close your eyes and let your intuition guide you, or you could stare at these GIFs for a little while and see which one is calling out to you. Sometimes when I watch pick a card readings, I find that there's a pile I'm most attracted to, but I kind of also feel that there's a secondary message for me in a second pile. If that happens to you, feel free to pick multiple groups and use your intuition to see out what resonates with you, as this is a general reading. I'll include timestamps in the description box. I'll also keep the GIFs looping for a while so you could stare at them if you want. We'll start in about 60 seconds. Let's start with Group 1. Hello Group 1, let's look at your tarot cards. I'm using the Zombie Tarot deck for this reading, hence the illustrations on the cards are post-apocalyptic zombie themed. The cards you've got are the High Priestess, 2 of Cups, and the Empress. There are 2 major arcana cards here. I feel like the change coming to you is going to be pretty significant. We'll go into this later. Let's look at your oracle cards first. You've got New Moon Beginnings, Abundance, Karmic Relationships, and Priest. This is so interesting. You've got the Priestess and the Priest card. Let's start by looking at the Karmic Relationships card. I think this tells us the crux of what this reading is about. The shift in energy, change, transformation that is coming to your life is most likely related to a relationship that you hold. It could potentially be about your own soul journey and not be talking about a specific relationship, but I think it is likely talking about a connection. I will talk about the relationship aspect of this reading first. Let's examine this card. The words on this Karmic Relationships card says Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, and conflict. I'm not very well versed with the mythology surrounding starseeds, so I'm not going to go into detail on that. But basically what the little booklet that came with this oracle deck says is that some starseeds from Orion reincarnate on Earth to live out and resolve their karmic relationships from their past life on Orion. I know some people don't believe in past lives. I personally don't really have a strong belief on whether or not we have past lives. I do like the idea of it though. My current little theory is that maybe some people believe so strongly in it because they do have a past life, while the rest of us are ephemeral souls who turn into a ball of energy that goes back into the universe when we die. Or, you know, we just get cremated and turned into ash. But I digress. It doesn't really matter whether you believe in past life relationships or not. This card just refers to someone whom you had a deep relationship with in the past. It might be someone who is currently still in your life, but your relations might be a bit strained. However, this reading is about healing and resolving your relationship with this person. I don't think that you are just going to talk it out, leave your feelings in the past and move on with your separate lives though. From what I can see in the cards, you are going to reconnect with this person. I see from the Two of Cups and the New Moon Beginnings card that there's a sense of renewed connection with this person. The Two of Cups basically depicts a soulmate relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It's just someone you click with. You almost feel like this person is a part of you, and you want this person to be a part of your life. I love the depiction of the Two of Cups in this zombie tarot deck. I feel that it's especially apt for this reading. There are obviously some differences between the two people, one being a human and one being a zombie, but it doesn't bother them at all. They are having a wonderful time connecting over dinner. There's a sense, in this depiction of the Two of Cups at least, there might have been some issues in the past that have strained their relationship, given that one of them is a zombie and the other one is human, but they've put all that behind them. Now they just want to look into each other's eyes, one set of eyes full of passion and life and the other rotting but still, you know, as emotive as a dead person's eyes could be, and they just want to talk about the universe, talk about the future, talk about how their food tastes like, talk about their likes and dislikes, talk about anything in the world. The situation they are in doesn't matter to them as long as they have each other beside them. In a way they are a complete set. Like the priest and priestess, or even the high priestess and empress. I'll elaborate on this later. For now let's look at the high priestess card and the priest card first. With the priest and the priestess, I get the sense that there's healing. The image I get from the priest card especially is that of a priest coming in and clearing your space energetically. Perhaps one of you will reach out to the other first and try to clear the air. The difference between the priest and the priestess, in my opinion, is that the priest works for the community, he brings his wisdom to other people, while the priestess is about introspection and connecting with your inner higher self. And together, the two of you are like this spiritual pair. You invigorate each other spiritually and help each other raise your vibrations to connect with your higher self. I have to add that, despite the conventional depiction of the Two of Cups with a man and a woman, and the gendered depiction of the priestess and the priest, I don't think this means that one of you is a man and the other a woman. I don't even think that one of you is necessarily more masculine while the other is more feminine. The duality in the cards probably just point to the fact that you might have thought of the two of you as polar opposites. Maybe that could even be the reason why your relationship was strained in the first place, but really you guys complement each other. The karmic relationships card also speak of polarity and duality. I think that in the guidebook that accompanies this deck the author mentions that Orion is thought to be, and I quote, a place of polarity and eventual unity. As a result, star seeds from Orion reincarnate on Earth to play out their relationship, or to reunite and reconnect I suppose. I'm not sure why Earth is the chosen spot for star seeds to reincarnate in though. But again, I digress. The point is that it is almost like your karmic destiny sort of to be in each other's lives. And with the energy of the new moon, you are presented with an opportunity for a fresh beginning. I feel like it's almost magical. When you reconnect with this person it's like you can't even remember why you thought you two were incompatible with each other. The duality can also be seen with the High Priestess and the Empress. The High Priestess and the Empress are conceptualized as the two polar aspects of femininity, or at least, what is conventionally thought of as feminine energy. The High Priestess represents the subconscious, the mysterious, the unknown, passive, watery aspects of the human psyche while the Empress represents the creative energy, fertility, and sexuality of the feminine archetype. Together they kind of represent a whole, and that's the kind of energy that the two of you bring each other. Again, I don't think that one of you is the High Priestess and the other one is the Empress. I think you bring out the positive attributes of the High Priestess and the Empress in each other. This doesn't necessarily indicate a sexual relationship, but it could be. So, to insert some 18+ bits here, if you're not 18 cover your ears for like 3 seconds, I think that if you do have a sexual relationship with this person, it's going to be intense, powerful, tantric even. You're going to connect on a soul level. And that is all I shall say for the 18 plus bits. I hope you weren't too disappointed by the lack of juicy details. You can use your imagination for the rest. With the Abundance card and the Empress card, I get the sense that something fruitful could come out of the relationship. Perhaps you could collaborate on something creative, or you could, make a baby. Or it could just point to a feeling that your relationship makes your life feel so full and so complete. Maybe you give each other really good advice, or be a good listening ear for each other, and that leads to other aspects of your life getting a boost as well. For instance, there could be something bothering one of you, and by talking to each other about it you could come out with a breakthrough or a solution together, or see things from another perspective. You basically help each other out a lot and give each other pieces of wisdom and intuition. So if you're listening to this and you're like, but there isn't someone like that in my life, I think that this reading could point to you experiencing a soul development. You're reuniting the two aspects of your consciousness, the internal and the external, as symbolized by the High Priestess and the Empress, as well as the High Priestess and the Priest. You're basically feeling so connected with your higher self and you are channeling that energy outwards. The Empress talks about abundance as well, and I think you're channeling the divine wisdom you're receiving into manifesting abundance into your life. If you're into the law of attraction, you'll know that we manifest things that serve our highest good when we are in sync with our higher selves. In this situation I see the Two of Cups as reuniting the two aspects of your psyche, the human representing the external and the zombie representing the shadowy, inner self. You don't have to fret about what you should do to bring on this change. You're blessed with the powerful energy of the new moon. That new beginning is yours. Time to let go of the karmic situation that was not working out for you. Looking at the karmic relationships card, maybe, just maybe, if you believe in karma, there was a karmic debt that you had to pay off. But that's all over now. You've paid your debt. Now it's time for you to start afresh. That's all for Group 1. This is a general reading but I hope it resonated with you. Do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye. Hello Group 2. Let's look at your cards. First up you've got the Queen of Wands, the Two of Hazards, which is the Two of Pentacles in this deck, and the Nine of Wands. I'm using the Zombie Tarot deck for this reading. The cards have this darkly humorous post-apocalyptic zombie movie vibe going on. For your oracle cards you've got Hot Moon, Extremes, Diligence, Empathic Starseed, and finally the Shapeshifter. The energy I'm getting from this group feels kind of loud, busy, vibrant, kind of like a bustling city street or marketplace. It reminds me of a bazaar with so many different smells and sights. There are perhaps street performers in a corner, merchants selling various perfumes and spices, people yelling at each other in the next corner. The bazaar is full of life and vigor. I feel that for this group, it's going to be a very busy and buzzy time for you. Your senses feel especially heightened. You feel a little restless. Your mind is racing a little. It's exciting, but it can be a little overwhelming at times. Let's start by looking at the tarot cards. The Queen of Wands, the Two of Hazards and the Nine of Wands all point to the heightened feeling and environment that I was describing. The Queen of Wands is someone who is full of passion and fun and flirtatiousness. She's very creative and confident and she attracts people to her with her vivaciousness. I find it interesting that she's depicted as a nurse in the card here. I don't see her as a kind, nurturing nurse, but rather, she brings life to the people around her and she energizes them. Despite, well, being a zombie in this card. She has an infectious personality. I love that she's just sort of holding on to her broken arm. I think she's the sort of person who isn't really bothered by little imperfections and setbacks. Reading this Queen of Wands together with the Two of Hazards, I sense that you're going to be involved in something that makes you feel very creative and energized. You're bustling with many different creative ideas and you feel like you want to try them all out. The Two of Hazards, or Two of Pentacles, is about being busy but in a good way. You're having fun with what you're doing and you're unbothered by, well, basically anything that doesn't hold your interest. I think you could be involved in a new project, or maybe you're starting many new projects, hobbies, creative ventures. Perhaps this is related to your career. I don't think this is just about your career though. I think these cards also relate to your social life. It could be connected to your school or career. Perhaps it's a situation at the workplace or in school. Or it could be that you're having a very busy time both with your work and with your social life. This is a very strange Two of Hazards card. It's very different from the usual depiction of the Two of Pentacles, which shows a dude juggling two pentacles that form an infinity sign. The depiction got me a little stumped at first, but I feel like both the zombie and the scientist guy are trying to balance something. The zombie is more obvious. It's literally trying to balance because he has no legs. The scientist guy looks a little distracted. I went and looked at the little guidebook that came with this tarot deck, and the author's take on this card is that it's telling you to try and not be distracted until help comes. And it shows on the scientist guy's face. He's looking somewhere else when he should be looking after the zombie. And I don't know if this is the artist's intention, but you can sort of contain the zombie and the scientist guy in a lopsided infinity sign, as you can see from this illustration I've put up on the screen. To read this card symbolically, I think the scientist guy and the zombie represent two aspects of your mind. The scientist guy is like the Queen of Wands here. She wants to go out and mingle with everyone. She's bursting with creative energy and she wants to try new things, while the zombie is connected to the Nine of Wands card. The Nine of Wands card is about having so much fire in you that it's starting to feel a little tiring. Going back to the metaphor of being in a lively bazaar, I think that, while you love the bazaar and you love its comings and goings, it can get a little tiring at times. It's like having to squeeze past throngs of people before you could get from point A to point B. Everyone's trying to get your attention but sometimes all you want to do is to get to point B, you know? I think the Nine of Wands, the Empathic Starseed card, the Hot Moon Extremes card and the Shapeshifter card all point to the same thing. While you absolutely love the liveliness and vigor going on around you, it can wear you down a little at times. This Empathic Starseed card is about someone who is highly sensitive and subconsciously absorbing the moods and energies of people around them. I think that, every time you connect with someone else you take a little piece of their energy with you. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but over time it starts to wear you down a little. This can get overwhelming at times. You're like the nurse in this Queen of Wands card. Bits and pieces of you start to, well, metaphorically chip off. It doesn't faze you much though. You're still confident. You're bursting with energy. You still hold the wand in your hand. What happens is that sometimes it can feel like you're being crowded by people, like the Nine of Wands card here. There's just too much. However, the Nine of Wands isn't like the Ten of Wands. With the Ten of Wands the wands feel like an absolute burden, but with the Nine you get the sense that you still want to keep the wands with you and protect them. It's just getting a little tiring. And looking at the Shapeshifter card, what I think it's saying is that, because you relate to people so well, you absorb so much of their energies that it feels like your moods and emotions are shape-shifting to be aligned with theirs. Basically, the cards are telling you that the energetic vibration around you is going to be heightened. It makes you feel creative and excited and bold. But you should also take care of yourself. Give yourself some space. Find balance between your enthusiasm and passion for other people and for yourself. It's like this Two of Hazards card here. I mentioned that the zombie relates to the Nine of Wands card. I see the zombie as the aspect of yourself that feels drained by other people and feel kind of worn out. You can see that he's trying to get away from the scientist, who is looking out and pouring himself a drink. I kind of get the feeling that he's preparing for some socialization, or he's thinking about his new creative venture. The beauty of the Two of Pentacles is that once you've found balance you're going to have so much fun and fulfillment. Just look at the infinity sign. You're going to have it all. I haven't talked about the hot moon card much, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The fiery energy that you're going to feel can feel extreme at times. You gotta learn to rein in and find balance. I like the words on the Shapeshifter card. It says skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness. Ability to see the potential in everything. I think it points the kind of adaptability you possess. You're going to be fine navigating these various, highly energized energetic vibrations and you're going to have fun. And speaking of fun, with this Queen of Wands card and the Hot Moon, Extremes, card, there's a lot of hot, heavy, sexual energy going on here. You can be susceptible to other people's moods, energies, and vibrations though, so take care to just feel the good vibrations and keep some distance between yourself and the moody vibes. I'm not asking you to be emotionally unavailable, but to reserve your inner well. This is it for Group 2. I hope you've enjoyed this. Do like and subscribe if it resonated with you. See you soon. Hello Group 3. Here are your tarot cards. The Knight of Swords, the King of Cups, and Judgment. I'm using the Zombie Tarot here, hence the tarot cards are post-apocalyptic zombie themed. Let's look at your oracle cards. You've got Waxing Crescent Realization, Leadership, Jump In and Saboteur. I feel that for those of you who chose this group, you are on the cusp of something. I think you are putting in effort to manifest an external change, something that would impact your community and uplift the energies of people around you as well. However, whether you can make a change or not is not yet set in stone. I know that many times when we read tarot, we're hoping to get a confirmation or learn something definitive about the future, but for this group it seems to me that the shift you are going to experience could go either way. You could manifest the outcome that you want or you just might not. This doesn't mean that you have to leave your fate to a random stroke of luck though. I think that you do possess the power and resources to decide your future, and the cards here are basically guiding you to the change that you want. The reason I say that you are working to create a change in the world around you because of the Leadership card, the Knight of Swords and the King of Cups. The Leadership card is pretty self-explanatory. It is about taking charge and building something with other people. There's a communal aspect to this card. You're not trying to do something alone. You're helping other people and you're working together with other people. The King of Cups speaks of something similar. Out of all the court cards in tarot, the kings relate to society and governance the most. The King of Cups especially is a combination of governance with traits like compassion, creativity, and empathy. The watery and emotional nature of the cups makes me think that you are trying to connect other people, just like how water flows from one place to another. You're like this river that brings people to you because you provide them with fresh water and fish and you nourish their lives. The Knight of Swords, well, he's basically the king's subject and he fights for the king. In the context of this reading I'd like to think of the Knight of Swords as the right arm of the King of Cups. The king governs from his throne while the knight goes out and accomplishes the missions assigned to him by the king. In other words, the knight possesses mobility and action. He travels throughout the king's lands to achieve his objectives. Looking at the Knight of Swords card, he appears to be on a violent rampage. However, he's not an outlaw or an anarchist, and he's not Joker. The scenario I'm seeing is a knight who is fighting outlaws to uphold the King of Cups ideals, and by doing so he is helping the civilians of the kingdom. His actions touch the civilians' lives in positive ways. This might not resonate with everyone, but those of you who chose this group are likely to be involved in your community, and are trying to effect change in your community. I think you might be a budding activist. Or, if you're in school, you could be up for a leadership position like running for student council, or you could be trying to petition some sort of change in your environment. From what I can see, the cards are telling you that if you want to create that change, if you want to influence other people, you need to really commit yourself to it. There is no room for doubts or half-heartedness. The jump-in card here tells you exactly what you need to do. The little guidebook that comes with this tarot deck says that this card is about swimming with the tides, to fall in love with surfing the waves of life. I'm not sure if you can see this, but the words on the card says adventure and say yes to the change. I love the watery metaphor associated with this card. Looking at this and at the illustration on the King of Cups card, I think that the cards are telling you to not be wishy-washy. The King of Cups here has a bit of his head above the water. It's like he's playing it safe and keeping a little bit of his head above the water. He's not ready to commit himself to being under the sea. I see this as a negative manifestation of the watery, wishy-washy nature of the King of Cups. I think what you should do is to plunge right in. Don't be afraid to submerge yourself into the water and swim towards your goal. Likewise, embody the spirit of the Knight of Swords here. Just dive into it. I'm not very well versed in the mythology surrounding starseeds, so I'm not going to elaborate on it, but if any one of you have more to say on this, please comment down below. Tell us if you resonate with the idea of Andromedan energy referenced in the jump-in card. Please comment down below. Tell us how it resonates with you. The Saboteur card here is also quite self-explanatory in my opinion. The light attributes on this card says highlight the fear of self-empowerment and the change that it might bring, and the dark attributes say induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others. Looking at the cards as a whole, I feel that you are probably prone to sabotaging yourself by being kind of indecisive and wishy-washy. You might be unfocused and restless, and a little temperamental even. This might be because of anxiety, or in general you might just be somebody who's resistant to change. Some of you might be prone to being a little jealous and moody and feeling like you are not as good as other people, and as a result you might subconsciously embody the dark attributes of the Saboteur card. I'm gathering this by looking at the Saboteur card and the negative aspects of the Knight of Swords and King of Cups. It's okay though, we're all only human, none of us are perfect, and feeling like this sometimes is normal. It's exactly what makes us human. What we should do in times like this is to take a deep breath, and ask ourselves what we could do to reconnect with our higher selves and uplift our own energies. Just look at this waxing crescent realization card. This card is about taking a hard look at yourself and assessing what you need to change about yourself, realizing which aspect of your consciousness is not in alignment with your goals, with who you want to be. And looking at the cards, I think that you are fundamentally someone who cares a lot about other people, who wants to contribute to your community. You just feel a little inadequate sometimes, or maybe you're afraid that the role might be more commitment than you can handle. The cards are telling you to jump right in. You have nothing to fear. You'll be able to do a great job at it. And lastly, let's look at the Judgment card. This card is really just another reminder for you to answer the call, rise up to the occasion, and do what it is that you are meant to do. I also see it as a kind of you reap what you sow card, but not in a bad way. Basically it's saying that if you work towards your goal and put in effort, you'll get the results you want. It's also telling you that change is coming whether you like it or not, and in order to effect the change that you want you have to put in the effort. The phrase exercise your judgment also comes to mind. I think it's telling you to keep yourself in check. Make sure you don't fall back into your bad habits of, say, being indecisive. That's all I have for Group 3. I realize that I kind of made it sound a little gloomy, but it really isn't. It's a pretty positive reading. The future is not set in stone yet, but just put in your best effort and you will receive the best results. Think of yourself as a hero in a story, who is meant to rise up to your calling. You're basically like the protagonist in an action fantasy adventure tale, whose destiny is to fight evil, and you'll win and lead your people because you're a born leader and good will always triumph over evil. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this reading anyway. I hope you liked this reading. I hope it resonates with you. Please like and subscribe if you liked it, and I hope to see you again. Goodbye. Hello Group 4. Here are your cards. The first card is the 10 of Swords, followed by the 7 of Wands, and then the 6 of Hazards. I'm using the Zombie Tarot deck for this reading, hence the depiction of zombies in the cards. I hope you like this deck. I really like it, but I realize it's very kitschy and not necessarily suited to everyone's tastes. I should also add that the suit of Hazards in this deck is the suit of Pentacles, so the 6 of Hazards is the 6 of Pentacles. As for the Oracle cards, you've got Number 37 Harvest Moon Fruition. The most recent harvest moon occurred on October 1st if I remember correctly. The second card is Miracles, followed by Lost Lands and Guide. I think it's funny because on the first look the tarot cards may appear to be more negative, or carry a more negative tone compared to the oracle cards, but the cards in this group tell a very coherent story when read as a whole. Don't worry though about the tarot cards. On the whole I think the message in the cards in this group is very uplifting. That said, I will start by looking at the tarot cards, because I think for this pile the cards kind of form a chronological story and it makes the most sense to start with the tarot cards. So first up, let's look at the 10 of Swords. I know the card looks pretty macabre and gory in this deck, and if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite rendition of the card you'll know that the cards carry a rather ominous vibe as well. I'll put a picture of the Rider-Waite card on the screen for comparison. For those of you who are familiar with tarot, or have watched a lot of these pick-a-card videos, I'm sure you've already heard tarot readers tell you that the card is often not as negative as it seems. It's a card that's frequently misunderstood. Even though the seemingly lifeless body is lying on the ground with 10 swords stabbed into its back. Like when Julius Caesar gets stabbed by everyone and their mother. Or, for a more contemporary reference, and spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, you can skip ahead like 5 seconds or so if you don't want Game of Thrones spoilers. It's like when Jon Snow gets betrayed by members of the Night Watch and gets stabbed by everyone and even Ollie.
For the watch.
I don't know why I'm rambling about betrayal and backstabbing here though. I don't think I sense any sort of betrayal going on. The more important message here is about what happens after the stabbing. And again, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, although I feel like everyone already knows this, Jon Snow doesn't die after the stabbing. Or rather, he dies but he comes back to life. And this is what the 10 of Swords is about, that the worst is already over, or almost over, and change is on the horizon and you are going to go through a process of revival. You can see from the Rider-Waite card, the sun is presumably rising over the horizon, a symbol for the process of coming back to life. The dark clouds are parting to make way for the light of the sun. The swords can also be read metaphorically. The suit of swords in tarot is about the mind, words, thoughts, and it should be noted the guy in the Rider-Waite card doesn't actually bleed. What we see here in this card is a metaphorical death, the end of some sort of mental anguish or pain that is caused by words and thoughts, as symbolized by the swords. So looking at the depiction of the Ten of Swords in the Zombie Tarot, I think it's interesting that the guy in this card doesn't even look like a dead body, like in the usual Rider-Waite depiction. He's being taken apart by the many hands, and one of his disembodied hands is being held by another person's hand, while he's kind of just looking at the cleaver in his disembodied hand, almost nonchalantly. He's kind of just witnessing everything that is happening to him with a distant, clinical curiosity. I think you get the sense that he's at peace with the whole process of being taken apart. I'd like to think that he's waiting to be fully taken apart so that he can be put together again, and this time after being put together he's going to be sturdier than before. I'm not sure if this is why I was rambling about betrayal before, but looking at the hands in this Ten of Swords card, I think that the process of being taken apart might not feel benevolent to some of you out there. It could have felt like you were betrayed by someone or some circumstance, or you felt like you were going through a period of relentless misfortune. For instance, you might have been hurt by people spreading rumors behind your back and hurting you or something. I give this example because the swords remind me of words. And because of this, we see in the Seven of Wands here there's a sense that you feel like everything is out to get you. You feel very defensive and protective, like you're afraid of getting hurt. I see two different set of circumstances that could be indicated by the Seven of Wands card actually. For some this Seven of Wands card represents sort of a flashback, a period of time before the restorative energies of Ten of Swords in which you were defending yourself or struggling against something. For the others this represents what comes after the Ten of Swords. There's still some lingering defensiveness going on here. The thing with Seven of Wands is though, even though you feel like everything is out to get you, you are also winning against them. It feels like you are in rampage mode almost, like you see in the GIF here on the screen. You also see in the card here, this dude doesn't care that his clothes are tattered. He's stepping over dead bodies like they are nothing. There might be obstacles in his path but he's well equipped with his bone to fight whatever is coming to him. I think that's what's coming to you. A sense that you are not going to be obsessed with all the perceived hardships that's happening to you and you will cut down everything in your way because you are a freaking badass. The next card here, the Six of Hazards, or Six of Pentacles, represents the crux of the change, or the shift in energies coming to you. Again, like the Seven of Wands, I think this card indicates two sets of circumstances. I think the first layer of interpretation is that the worst is already over and you are receiving some guidance and wisdom to help you get on your feet. However, I think that the message in this reading is more than that. Just look at the positivity in the oracle cards. What's coming to you is not a slight shift in fortune, it's destruction and creation. It's about being better than before. You're not like this zombie in the Six of Hazards card here. He has a job, but he's being manipulated to complete the job. You see the scientist guy dangling the piece of meat in front of the zombie to get him to complete the job. You're not going to scramble for a piece of meat. I think what the card is trying to say here is, you might have felt like you were like this zombie here, or that you feel like you have to limit yourself and not want so much in order not to be disappointed again, but you don't have to. Be ambitious. You could be in the position of the scientist. I'm not saying that you should exploit and manipulate someone though, despite the imagery in these cards. With this card and the guide card I think it's trying to tell you that you will not only receive guidance, you will also be in the position to give guidance. I should have mentioned this before, but because of the abundance card and the Six of Hazards, this reading, or this shift in energy that is coming to you, is most likely related to your ambition or a goal or career or studies. The likelihood is that there was something you were trying to achieve but you've had a lot of setbacks. It may have felt like the universe was against you, that you were jinxed, that you were just not meant to have what you want. Spirit wants you to know that all of that is utter nonsense. Sometimes we have to experience setbacks in order to grow and learn and become sturdier than before. And this is what this reading is telling you. You will stop feeling like everything is against you, and instead know that it is in your path to achieve your goals. It is written in the stars almost. I mean, just look at the oracle cards. Miracles, Harvest Moon. I think these two cards are pretty self-explanatory. Good things are coming to you. Unexpected blessings will bring you bountiful harvests. There's going to be a sense of fruition. There's going to be joy, celebration. It's almost like the universe is conspiring to make you happy and gift you with all you've wanted and more. With the Miracles card especially, I get the sense that you are in perfect sync with your higher self and spirit. You're so perfectly synchronized that you are influencing your external world and attracting unexpected surprises. You will be surprised by yourself and what you can manifest. You might also be seeing lots of synchronicities, like seeing 11:11 on the clock constantly. This other card here, Lost Lands, talks about shedding the fear of the unknown and self-doubt. The words on the card read soul memories and gifts. You've done this before. The idea represented in this card is that even if you think you are not up to the task, you instinctively know exactly what to do. You are already experienced in what you want to do, in another life, in another time. With this Lost Lands card, the Six of Hazards, and Guide, I think you will become a powerful guiding force, not just for others but for yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust yourself. You are connected to your higher self and know exactly what it is you have to do. And that's the shift in energy that's coming to you. It's a pretty drastic shift, from having swords stuck in your back to being like, enlightened almost. I hope this reading resonates with you. Please consider liking and subscribing if you liked this. Goodbye.